Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order, the Board of Supervisors, December 22nd, 2020. Can we all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America
and the republic that stands
for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible,
with liberty and
justice for all.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence for all our servicemen and women and civilians serving overseas and here in this great country. Okay, thank you very much. So let's see, announcements. If I may, I do have one that I can't seem to locate. In the meantime, does someone else want to go? How about you, Kathy?
I have no announcements this evening, Mr. Chair.
Mr. McKee?
Mr. Chairman, I have just a few. I want to thank everyone that reached out to me recently. I just got over a couple-week battle with the coronavirus. I was one of the lucky ones that didn't end up on a ventilator. But I want to thank everyone that reached out to me. I really appreciated it, the phone calls and the text and the emails. Thank you very much. And hopefully we'll get past this in 2021. I also want to thank our friend Joe Cowie over at ShopRite. I was told today that he made a generous donation of gift cards to all of our police officers for Christmas. So thank you very much for doing that, Joe. That's really good of you. I also, just a reminder, and I think we'll probably mention this later in the meeting, but anyone that's interested in serving on a board or commission to get a letter into the township manager. I don't know when the cutoff is for that, but we could talk about it later in the meeting. But I just wanted to remind anyone that's interested to please do get a letter into the township manager. And that's all I have. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're welcome. Let's go to Mary.
Good evening, everyone. From the Parks and Rec, Warminster Township has announced sections of Warminster Community Park will be closed during the grant construction. Effective immediately, sections of the Warminster Community Park will be closed to the public during the grant project construction, which began recently. Areas that are off limits will be designated by barricades and construction fencing. These closures will extend through the spring months, but Miko Construction Incorporated will do their best to complete the phases of the project and reopen areas as they are completed. We recognize this will cause some disruption to the regular park visitors and hope that you will bear with us throughout the process. The large multi-grant project will greatly expand the public amenities of WCP, and we are trying to continue to confine all work to the winter and spring months when there is less activity in the park. We hope this project will be completed by June of 2021. The parking lot, pond trail, perimeter trail, Halloway Pavilion, and the playground will remain open to the public. Access to the dog park will be via grass instead of the paved trails. Trees along the crossover trail are being relocated to other areas of the park or into new park areas. The basketball court, safety town, and much of the runway of the interior trails, including the crossover trail, will be blocked and closed. The heavy equipment will be bringing in dirt for the sports field and moving dirt for stormwater sections and runway will be removed for greening and landscaping. The safety of the park visitors is most important, so please be sure to observe all signs. The dog license and Bark Park, the 2021 annual dog license can be purchased at the Parks and Rec office Monday to Friday from 9 to 4. Pennsylvania law requires that all dogs over the age of 3 months must be licensed and have rabies vaccinations. New Bark Park memberships will be available in January of 2021. The Hometown Hero banners are available, so if you're looking for that unique holiday gift, Friends of Warminster Park continues to offer Hometown Hero banner program honoring our local veterans. Banners are displayed along Veterans Way in Warminster Community Park from April through December. For an application or more information, please visit www.friendsofwarminsterparks.org or stop by the Parks and Rec office. Don't forget, get discount tickets now for movies. They're $9.50 each. Hopefully the movie theaters will be open eventually. There's also discount tickets for Maurice Pier, which will never expire, in case you're thinking about doing any travel to the shore during next summer. Office hours, again, are from 9 to 4. They can be reached at 215-443-5428. There is a virtual snow sculpture contest, which is free. It's running from January 1st, 2021 to March 31st, 2021. Send your best snow sculpture pictures to recreation@warminsterpa.org. Winners will be chosen in late March and will be posted on the website. Remember, the parks are open from sunrise to sunset, and after dusk, you must have a permit or risk being fined. Park restrooms in Bark Park Water are closed for the season and will reopen on April 1st when all the threats of frost have passed. Please do not feed the wildlife, especially the fox, deer, and geese in the parks. Supplemental feeding encourages wildlife to lose their fear of people and become dependent on handouts that are not part of their regular diet. That is all. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you, Mary. And Judy?
Yeah, I wanted to let you know that the Ben Wilson Senior Activity Center has pushed their opening date up to February 1st because of the COVID-19 uptick. So right now they're hoping to reopen on February 1st. I want to remind people they have a grab and go every Monday. If you're in need of a meal, you can go and grab a meal there on Mondays. And if you would like 5 meals, if you give frozen meals, if you give them a week's notice, you can get for $10, you can get 5 frozen meals for the week. I also want to remind you that your dues for Ben Wilson Center are due on January 1st. They need their dues in order to pay for electric and phone and office supplies, etc. They still have, last week they had a big plumbing issue. So they still have issues that require money to run the organization. And any other donations you can make would be gratefully appreciated. That's all.
Okay, thank you. So I don't have the notice, the public notice that we're going to post on the webpage and advertise, but the Small Business Administration is offering businesses and residents of Warminster Township low relief for the tropical storm that came through here in the summer.
Isaiah, I think it was Isaiah. Mm-hmm.
Isaiah, correct.
Mm-hmm.
And so anyone that had any type of damages to their business or their properties, the SBA, I believe, will be offering low interest loans to help you through any type of rebuilding. And we will post that. I'm sorry I don't have it. I had it in my hand and somehow or other it got lost in the paper shuffle. So look for that.
Mr. Chairman, I think it has been posted on the township website.
Okay,
Yes, it has.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I don't believe there's any presentations, and I don't believe there's any land.
Do you want to take the budget PowerPoint under presentations or at the beginning of the public hearing? Your choice.
I don't know. Anybody have a preference? Anybody on the board? I was thinking we would take it right before the motion. Is everyone okay with that?
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, it really should be before the public hearing.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's what I think we're all in agreement on that.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so then we can go to the first public comment, and I will leave that to Amanda, please.
All right, Mr. Chairman, there's several emailed in public comment, and then there's several public comment in the room. Which one would you like to start with?
Oh, I guess we can read them. That'll be fine.
Sure. All right. Scott DeRosa emailed. He lives on over off of Stub Road. Good evening. I'd like to start out by wishing the Board of Supervisors, Township employees, and the residents a Merry Christmas. Happy New Year and happy holidays. I would like to thank the township staff in the office and out on the roads for everything they do for our community. I would also like to thank all Hartsville Fire Company, Warminster Fire Company, Warminster Police, and Central Bucks Ambulance for keeping our community and residents safe. Now down to business. During your last Board of Supervisor meeting, the board authorized the appeal of the zoning decision for Warminster Plaza, which granted the center relief to use a large portion of the SMG site as a self-storage facility. It was stated that there was concern that the zoning hearing board was pressured or influenced to grant the relief that was being requested. I, for one, was not pressured or influenced in any way or by anyone on this or any other application. I'm unaware of any other board member that was pressured or influenced in any way either. In the roughly 20 years I have been involved with the planning and zoning, I have never let any outside pressure influence my vote. I've always done what was in the best interest of the community and the township. I take this situation very seriously, and as chairman of the zoning hearing board, I would like to know who felt pressured or influenced and who attempted to pressure or influence our board. It concerns me that there is even the thought that any impropriety or improper behavior occurred. This is not how we do business. We are a total non-political board, semi-judicial in nature, professional body that represents our community. Thank you for taking the time to review this serious matter. And if you wish to discuss this matter further, please feel free to contact me. Michelle
Okay,
London.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Michelle London from Centennial Station. You have saved us from the public embarrassment the previous board put us into. Running on keeping taxes low can mean endangering our security or worse yet, not being able to meet our township needs. And we didn't have to sell our best asset. Thanks again for your hard work. You've driven the car out of the ditch we were placed in. Frank Azokis from Magnolia Road. To all of you in our beautiful community of Warminster, my wife, Sally, and I wish everyone a blessed Christmas and a happy and healthy New Year. We would also ask that everyone wear a face mask and take the vaccine shot when available. It can save your life. And that's all from the written public comment, Mr. Chairman.
I thought there was one more from, oh, okay, there's no address, correct, okay.
Correct.
Okay. All right, well, thank you all for your comment, and we've since moved on from the rumor that I had mentioned, and I'm glad to hear that everything is going as it's supposed to on the zoning hearing board, and we've since moved on from that because it was a rumor, and I was just reminding everyone on this board that we have a code to abide by. That's all that was, and I did say that was a rumor. So I'm glad to hear, Mr. DeRosa, that everything is going well on that board, and that closes that. Thank you very much. Okay, I guess we'll go into the room. Oh, hello.
Year. Hopefully 2021 will be a better year than 2020. I'd like to remind everybody that taxes are due by the 31st. This late in the year, no personal checks are accepted. There must be a bank check, a cashier's check, a certified check, money order, or cash. If you bring in cash, you must bring in the exact amount, as I've hired somebody to go to the bank every few hours, so I will not have any cash in the office. As of today, we only have 106 people left to pay the township portion of their taxes. My office hours are going to be a little different for the holidays. Tomorrow I will be open from 9 to 4. I will be closed Thursday and Friday for the holiday. Monday, the 28th, I'll be open 9 to 12. The 29th and 30th, I'll be open from 9 to 4. And the 31st, I will only be open from 9 to 12 since the banks are closing early and I have to get the money in. I'd also like to remind the seniors that the Pennsylvania Property Tax and Rent Rebate Program is ending on the 30th of December. So if they're going to do it, they only have a little while left to do it. Also, if you haven't applied for your $55 for your trash discount, that has to be done by the 30th also. And that's everything. Do you have any questions?
No, Bob, can you repeat that number again on the outstanding tax? How many
106
people?
out of 10,400.
Wow.
Wow.
That's fantastic. And I thank all the residents
Mhm.
for being so diligent. That's fantastic.
And I
Thank
know
you.
that number will go down because I'm usually really busy next week. So
Okay,
I'm looking
even
forward
better.
to a banner year.
Thank you, Bobby.
You're welcome.
Thank you, and have a great holiday.
Thank you, you too. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Thank
Yes,
you,
same to you. Merry
Bobby.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Look at my mask down. Hello, my name is Bob Guarini, and I live in District 1 in Warminster. And I would like to thank the board for the opportunity to speak here tonight. I feel the perspective that I offer tonight aligns with many of my friends and members of this community. Mr. Chairman, my question is directed solely to you. In the last meeting, you made a statement that was truly misleading and false. And to be honest, I'm surprised that your council would even let you make that statement, and in that fact, they had failed you. Your statement was that last year's budget was the only budget to balance out in the past 4 or 5 years. Again, a very misleading statement and quite simply cannot be true. The state law says that every budget must balance out. That is the truth, and that can be verified. You implied that the only budget to balance out in 4 or 5 years was the one after you and your current board members took office. And I believe this is an indirect and misleading statement taking a shot at the previous board. So, Mr. Hayes, I ask you, would you like to clarify your statement or even retract it at this time?
What I'd like to say is that even last year, we used surplus funds to balance the budget. So that's the clarification of that. So we didn't balance the budget without using surplus funds, and that shouldn't be done.
Okay. All right, well, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Mike Ferris, 948 Cornell Drive. I just had a couple quick questions. I know there's been a lot of problems with the 2019 financial audit. Do we expect that anytime soon?
Mike, I do believe so. I'm going to turn that over to, I guess, Mr. McCauley.
Mr. Chairman, I'm told that we're close. But I don't have a draft. I don't have a draft yet. So when I have a draft, that's what I'll consider close. I know we have. We did finally get unaudited numbers, and we've used those for budget purposes, and they have been reviewed by the auditors.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I just had a second question. A couple months ago, there was a presentation about taking out a pension obligation bond. I was wondering if that's still an option that you're considering.
No.
And so, is there any plan to take care of the unfunded pension liabilities and OPEB going forward?
Yeah, you'll see the start of that in the presentation tonight.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Merry Christmas, Mike.
Or the Santa Claus beard there. He must be doing a little Santa on the side.
What was that, Mark?
Might be moonlighting the Santa Claus with the beard.
Yeah, really.
Hmm.
Good evening. My name is Larry Menkes from Meadowwood section. I was invited to speak in regard to the budget, and I will be returning for that at the appropriate time. And I just wanted to thank you for the opportunity to be here and to have a comment where I was invited to comment. So, thank you all, and wish you a Merry Christmas.
Good to
a
see you,
little later.
Larry. How you feel? How you feeling, Larry? Good to see you.
I'm feeling fine. I'm on the side of the grass, right?
That's right, buddy. Good to see you.
And one other thing, I'll talk about it when I come back. I'm not here with a car.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Larry.
That's all the public comment this evening for this
Okay.
section, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you. So let's move on to the consent agenda. And I'll leave that to you, Amanda.
Sure. On tonight's consent agenda, A, consider approval of the Board of Supervisors minutes dated December 12th, 2020. Consider Christ Home Child Development Center release number 4 final from the escrow account in the amount of $74,198.30. Consider 625 Mary Street release number 1 from the escrow account in the amount of $48,767.40. D, consider 1270 Mearns Road, release number 8 from the escrow account in the amount of $41,985. E, consider 273 West County Line Road, Patagon Storage, release number 1 from the escrow account in the amount of $513,653.50. F, consider the release of 606 York Road, Bank of America ATM, release number 1 final from the escrow account in the amount of $10,000. G, consider 911 York Road, Lot 1, Caddis Assisted Living, release number 1 from the escrow account in the amount of $867,421.80. H, consider the approval of 90 York Road post-construction lighting agreement. I, consider the approval of 1179 York Road post-construction lighting agreement. Can I have a motion, Mr. Chairman?
Motion.
Second.
Is there a second?
Mr. Chairman, a point of information. I just want the board to understand something. Escrow releases require the signature of the township engineer and the township manager. And I've implemented a new policy on final escrow releases that I'm not signing any final escrows until somebody certifies to me that we've been paid everything that the township is due, and that we have the funds in hand. So in case you hear some screaming from developers on the slow release of their escrow, I just want you to know that it's the Grinch, and I'm being overly careful considering the issues we had in 2019 with escrows.
Okay, and I appreciate that. Bill, because yeah, we did have some issues with that, and we need to make sure that the township receives everything that's due.
I've got two on my desk right now. I'm waiting to hear from. I'm waiting to hear somebody to tell me that we've got any money due to us, and then I'll be happy to sign them at that point.
So do we need to amend this motion, Randy, or is this okay as is? If Mr. McCauley and Mr. Kenner are going to make sure that
You can
all the
say
money is
pending,
paid.
pending Mr. McCauley's final.
Yeah, now this is
sign.
only final releases. No. I see one.
Some of them are partial releases.
Yeah, I see you've got two more final releases here, and they're the ones that I'm sending to finance, engineering, and
Right. So the final releases should say pending sign off by the township engineer and the township manager with the township manager's final approval.
Okay, so is there a
As
motion?
amended.
As amended?
With that amendment,
Motion,
that's the amendment. Yes.
Yes.
motion.
Okay,
A second.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? Any from the public? Okay, so with that, we'll call the question. Well, let's call the question. Kathy,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Mary,
Aye.
Judy,
Aye.
Judy,
Aye.
and chair votes aye. The motion carries 5-0. Thank you. All right, finance report. Turn that over to Mary.
I have the approval of the bill list for period ending December 17th, 2020. Bill list dated December 17th, 2020 in the amount of $2,735,227.22.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? Any questions or comments from the board? Okay, let's call the question. Kathy,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Mary,
Aye.
Judy,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. Motion carries 5-0. Okay, let the fun begin. We go to unfinished business. Looking forward to this. First, we'll have the public hearing on the proposed 2021 township budget, and I will turn over the reins to Mr. McCauley for his presentation. It's all yours, Bill.
thank you. Andy, you put up the PowerPoint. Okay. Okay, Mr. Chairman, board members, the 2021 budget schedule, budget requests were submitted by department heads July 31st, 2020. 2021 was distributed to the Board of Supervisors and the public on December 1, 2020. The advertisement of availability for public inspection of the proposed budget was advertised in the Intelligencer on December 2nd. We're here at the public hearing, and hopefully you'll be kind enough to consider adoption this evening. The budget highlights, no fund balance being proposed as revenue in the balanced general fund operating budget. I'm going to concentrate on the on the general fund because that's where you're financially distressed. Your other funds are could be healthier, but they're not financially stressed. The general fund, your largest fund, and it's financially distressed. There's no fund balance being proposed as revenue in the balanced general fund operating budget. It's balanced. No real estate tax increases. I have to tell you, I haven't increased real estate taxes since when I was a borough manager of Phoenixville in 1993. It was the last time I increased real estate taxes. Historically, when the township gets funds, accumulates funds, they spend it and have nothing to show for it. And so my goal in taking the $6 million from the Warminster Authority is to address the dilapidated infrastructure. And we've got $11.7 million being invested into roads and park improvements this year. We've got the 2021 million paving program. I'm proposing to take $3 million and pave 12, 13 miles of highway, hopefully more, but I like to under-promise and over-deliver. We've already got the development of the Warminster Community Park underway. Nico's been out there getting situated and ready to go. And then the purchase and remediation of Shenandoah Woods. The gentleman asked about the bond. The bond for the unfunded liability bond for the pension funds. Well, I'm proposing something new in Warminster to pay your bills. There's $2.65 million appropriated for the police pension fund. I don't know why this has been paid over the years, but we're going to start paying our bills. Also, want to take advantage of the historically lowest rates in history, or $12 million for the capital improvements, and transfer $1.5 million of the Warminster Authority money to the debt fund to mitigate the tax impact. So you won't have any impact on real estate taxes till the third year, and hopefully by then we have some additional surplus funds that we can transfer to the debt fund. Okay, here's just a quick bar graph on the township millage. The township's 23.06. The school district's 147.0128, and the county's 25.45. Real estate tax millage history goes back to 2010. It was 12.07. Had a 5 mil increase in 2011. And then last year, you had your 5.99 millage increase, 35.09%. And 2021, proposing to keep millage the same. Next slide is the this is actually incorrect. This should be 611 plus 440. So that's $1,051 for all township services. 611 is for real estate tax, 440 for the refuse fee, for a total of 1,051. Okay. Next is the average tax dollar. I'm sure being elected officials, you're forever hearing taxpayers say, my taxes are always going up. Well, just so everybody's aware, the average tax dollar, 12 cents goes to the township, 13 cents goes to Bucks County, and 75 cents goes to the school district. Okay. General fund revenue sources. Here's 20, we have 2020 projected, 17,383. We're proposing 20,722 next year. And that's mainly because receiving the 4.3 million from the Warminster Authority. So the township had we're projecting the township had a shortfall in revenue of $500,000 this year as a result of COVID. It would have been nice if the administration had taken my recommendation in my report in March and done some cutting to anticipate that shortfall, but that wasn't done. One of the things when you after you adopt a budget, and we're going to go through historically, when you adopt a budget, you have to, at least on a quarterly basis, evaluate your revenues and your expenditures. If your revenues are going to be short, you need to take action to cut your expenditures. And I'm going to show you quite clearly that that's never been done. Okay. 2021 proposed budget, general fund revenue sources, real estate taxes is 24%. Proceeds of asset sale is 30. That's the money from the you have your business license and permits, public safety, other revenues. Okay. Now here's your general fund expenditure sources. We're projecting 16.9 this year for expenses. Next year, 19,874,000. However, keep in mind that's inflated by 3 million because we have 1.5 million for the TAN and 1.5 million, which is a transfer to the debt fund to offset the principal and interest payments for the next couple of years. Okay, expenditures, 53% for the police. The administration, I believe, is 5. Finance, I believe, is 5. I think 19 is the interfund operating transfers. The police is only is 53% here, but this number includes your operating transfers. That includes the TAN and the transfer to the debt fund. When you take that $3 million out, the police percentage of expenditures actually goes to 72%. Okay. The next one is your salaries and benefits. In the 2021 budget, 14.5 million is going to salary and benefits. And I'll show you in a little bit. The benefit package for Warminster employees is very, very rich. I don't understand why it's so lucrative, but somebody must have done a good job negotiating. Operating expense is 2.355 million. So that is utilities, gasoline. 3 million are the debt service transfers and the TAN. So you have, out of 19.8 million, you've got 2.3 million that you can cut without impacting employees. So you're really not going to get too far when you only have 2.355 to deal with versus the 14.5 for the personnel cost. Okay. Now, this year we're adding five firefighters. I know I've heard that bandied about how this is fully funded by a SAFER grant. Well, that's not completely true. The township's ponying up $80,252 for the program. The SAFER grant's $565 for a total cost of $645,000. Capital, we put it into the capital, and we're funding it in the 2021 notes. $70,000 is to equip the five new firefighters. So we actually, excuse me, we actually had to reduce some other monies. Some other monies going to the fire companies. We had to reduce them because of the $80,000 that we were funding for the new program. Okay. Now here we took some random employees to show the annual cost. The first one's the Public Works Superintendent. The Public Works Superintendent's W-2 is $77,501. Then you get into health insurance, which includes medical, prescription, dental, and vision. $39,685. That's about the highest I've ever seen for any municipality. LTD, $897. Payroll, FICA, almost $6,000. And then the township's contribution to the pension, $11,000. Workers' comp, $48.50. Benefit cost, $62,822. Total cost, $140,000 for the Public Works Superintendent. So that's pretty rich as far as municipalities go. Okay, we picked a Public Works labor. Now the Public Works labor only makes $51,428. However, once again, full family health insurance, $39,685. Goes down through the other. A labor is costing the township just under $107,000. Okay. So we took a full patrolman. That's a patrol officer at the top rate. Their salary's $97,140. You've got longevity. You've got regular overtime. You got court overtime. You have banquet time, whatever that, vacation buyback, education incentive. The township is very generous with its educational incentive. It seems to me if somebody's making $97,000, they really should bring their education with them. I don't know if the township should be paying for that. You've got your other benefits, and then sick leave incentive, which is something I've never understood paying employees $2,700 to show up. Excuse me. Now the health for the police a little lower. Full family 36,322. AD&D LTD 807. The pension as a percentage of payroll 14,363. Liability insurance and workers' comp. So your total cost for an average full patrolman is just under $180,000. Pretty rich. Now here's your police department cost. Other insurances, $340. Salary and benefits, almost $0.2 million. Other operational expenses. And here's your police MMO. We did not make the 2.6 million this year. We, once again, we went with the I forget that term. The low rate that ends up getting you in trouble. We put in 1.9 plus million. And the reason we did this because we didn't know if we had the cash to put 2.65 in the books. The books being what they are, we didn't know if we had that additional $700,000 to put in. So your 2021 budget is $10,677,000, and your revenues in the general fund, your recurring revenues are 14.9. So that's where you come up with the 72%. The general fund goes to the police department. Okay. Here's your health cost. This is for the police department retirees. The PPO, no copay, no deductible. Full family, $42,279.58. That's the highest I've ever seen. Okay, next is the current police and the retirees after 2015. We have a PPO 250, 500, RX 1035. Something unique to Warminster is the township pays the employees co-pays and deductible. I've seen places where they funded partial of the deductible. I've never seen a municipality reimburse an employee for co-pays. And if you want to look at why you're financially distressed, there's one of the reasons. This is for at-will employees prior to 2019. Full family, $38,941. Very rich. And I got to tell you, PPO, a $10 PPO with a $5 prescription card. I mean, that's something that I put a $20 prescription card in the 90s in Penn Township. That's very, very generous. Okay, this is the insurance rates for AFSCME prior to 2018 and their retirees. Single, parent-child, parent-children, couple, full family, $39,000, just under $40,000. and the employees paying nothing towards their health insurance. This is the health plan for the new hires after 2019, ASME 2018. It's a $2,000, $4,000 deductible. The township funds part of the deductible, and then the RX is a 10, 30, 60, and I guess we refund 65% of the 65. So full family's 31, certainly a lot better than 38, 39, but it's not. It's only average. Where's I had a slide. I wanted to show you Abington Township. The Abington Police have a $20 HMO with a 1020 prescription card. And it's 29,000 for full family. Now, with all due respect to the Warminster Police Department, I mean, they're not any better than the Abington Police Department. And why do Abington police officers have a $20 office visit HMO and a 1020 prescription card, and our police officers pay nothing for a very expensive PPO? I don't know where that slide got to. Okay. All right, next we're going to review a little bit. The gentleman in public comment was talking about adopting balanced budgets. Well, at the end of 2016, the township had over $5 million in undesignated fund balance. So in 17, there was a deficit of about 300,000. That happens from time to time. That's understandable. But then you take some action to address the problem. The next year, 2018, the township overspent the general fund by almost 1.5 million. I mean, the train started going off the tracks in 17, and then went off the tracks, and then in 19, they doubled down another $1 million. The budget. I assume the budget was balanced when it was adopted, but you're spending 16 million, and your revenue's under 15. It's not a prescription for good financial health. Now, this year, we're projecting a $464,000 surplus for the year. And I'd say that's a great cause for celebration, but that's using the 1.7 million proceeds from asset sale up under revenues. So we used essentially 1.3 million of the 1.7 million just to balance the budget, rather than take action with the revenue shortfall and addressing that and cutting some spending. Just rely totally on the 1.7 million. Now, next year, we've got the 4.3 million coming in from the Warminster Authority, and that's why my goal is to see that this money, we have something to show for it. We're going to get roads paved. We're going to get parks done, and make some significant improvements to the infrastructure. We're projecting to have roughly 850,000 left at the end of 2021. That's out of the 6 million from the Warminster Authority. So job one, beginning next week, is going to be to reduce spending and try to get that 850,000 number up higher, so that we've got some flexibility in the future. We can move some money to the debt fund, avoid having to increase millage there. And maybe we'll pave another 12, 13 miles with the surplus funds in 2022. Okay, now here's a projection. Now this is if the township doesn't do anything, just continues business as usual. Okay. By the end of 2022, excuse me, I projected 2% increase in revenues, 4% increase in spending. By the end of 2022, you've got a 2.8 for that year. You've got $2.8 million deficit. Increases to 3.2 the following year, 3.6, 4.1, and then 4.5. That's if you do nothing and don't cut spending. Okay. Conclusions. The sins of the past have left the township with no funds and an infrastructure in drastic need of improvement. The township ended 2016 with a surplus of over $5 million. Now the surplus is essentially gone and the township has nothing to show. The 2021 budget begins to invest in Warminster Township roads and parks and finally pay the township's actual pension obligations. Before you do something crazy like a taxable bond on funding a unfunded liability in a pension, might make sense to pay your bill before you try that. 1.3 of the 1.7 received from the Warminster Authority in 2020 was used to cover deficit spending. 1.5 million to 6 million from the Warminster Authority is being transferred to the debt fund to pay principal and interest on the 12 million general obligation note. This will cover the debt service for 3 years. Well, you won't have to increase millage till the third year, and hopefully we have some additional surplus funds by now. Now the township is maxed out on general fund real estate tax millage. The 5 mills available to you with court approval will only generate 1.6 million. So you can't tax your way out of fiscal distress. Unless the township learns to live within its means, the 6 million from the Warminster Authority will be gone. The deficit at the end of 2020 for that year will be 2.8 million and continue to grow each year unless unchecked spending is brought under control. It's pretty simple. Current revenues for 2021 are 14.9 million. Current expenditures are almost 16.9 million, just under. The township must eliminate the ongoing structural deficit. The township's problem is not a lack of revenue. It's excessive wasteful spending. Selling more assets without addressing spending first would be the equivalent of taking a gambling addict to a casino. Listen, I can't sit here and tell you I've never sold a water and sewer authority, but I can tell you that before that was done, we maximized revenue, and we cut spending to the bone before I sold a water sewer authority. As I drive around the township, I keep scratching my head. With all the commercial development in the past 10 years in the township, why are the township roads, buildings, and parks substandard at best? None of that money from the development obviously went into the infrastructure. Warrington just cut a ribbon on a new township building. It'd be nice to see Warminster with a township building they could be proud of. Change is painful, and everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die. That's my favorite budget, and this is why only a few municipalities that enter Act 47, which is the state program for distressed municipalities, ever come out of Act 47, because they're unwilling to take their medicine and make the difficult decisions to cut the spending. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you, Bill. So I guess we're going to need a motion to consideration to adopt the 2021 budget.
You could also
Public hearing first.
ask for public for
Is
comments
hearing
from
goes
public.
first?
Yeah, the public, people can say what they want about the proposed budget or anything. Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's bring them on. Sure, there's a line out around the block.
There are several people waiting to come in the room. There is one new public comment related to the budget. If you'd like me to start with that first, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, please.
Sure. So Paul Dixon, did you remove funding for our canine training for 2021? If so, how do you intend for them to continue training? Do the officers have to pay for this out of pocket? If this is true, you are defunding the police.
I don't recall specifically eliminate. I made some minor cuts in every department, and I don't think canines are top priority in the police department. But I mean, if you're going to have health insurance that's $36,000 a year, and you're going to have a pension with I forget the unfunded liability amount. If you're going to have unlimited sick time, somewhere something's got to give.
Just for the record, I want to point out, this is a public hearing. This portion is a public hearing on the budget. So any questions would have to deal, the public can have other comments about other items, and that's fine, they can speak. But any public comment at this point should be about the public hearing that you have. This is a public hearing. Public has a right to have questions and answers. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. My name is Janice Charlton. I'm in the Speedway neighborhood. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. I do have a question concerning the police budget.
Just to be Susan, could you give your actual address? That's required under the.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
500 Lemon Street, Warminster, Pennsylvania. My name is Janice Charlton. With the police department, when looking at the budget, it actually looks like you're defunding some of the police. There was a police officer that left that wasn't replaced. The weapons section, it's down 41% from 17,000 down to 10,000. The training for our officers is down 50% as well, from 15,000 to 7,500. Crime prevention is reduced 50% as well, from 6,000 down to 3,000. Vehicle and equipment rotation is reduced 75% down from 10,000. I'm concerned with the crime especially. Just yesterday we had an armed robbery at a 7-Eleven on Newtown Road. People are stressing because of coronavirus and the escalated mental health situations. I think it's important that we make sure our police are funded and trained in dealing with our community and situations that will arise. You have a lot of people moving out of Philadelphia. We're one of the closest municipalities close to there. We have a lot of nice things to offer, but I want to make sure that our citizens are protected. How are we going to do that if we're taking away their training and
Where would you like the money to come from? The city of Camden cut their police department in half. Has anyone noticed any difference in safety in Camden? Where would you like the money to come from, ma'am? The township is at the millage cap. The township's at the millage cap of 14 mils. The earned income tax maxed out. Where would you like the money to come from?
Well, my personal opinion, I think maybe as we redo our salaries and stuff and look at the people and how much they're making in relationship to the people who they're serving, maybe we need to take a look at that as the township manager, for example. You know, I'm not a numbers person, but I would think that if we take a look at the big picture and make sure that it justifies the neighborhood that we're in. Are we representing the people and who we're called to serve?
Just so you're aware, calls for services in this year are down significantly as a result of the COVID.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
At calls for services, were you aware? I mean, calls for services are down significantly in the COVID.
So just to add to that, I noticed there's a general theme coming from people at the podium about defunding the police. Keep in mind that 72% of our budget it goes to the police, and we don't want to. I mean, look, public safety is number one concern of ours.
Okay.
But also, we have to take into consideration how we're going to pay for everything. So we're not defunding the police.
Okay.
Per se. I mean, that's a nice buzzword, catchphrase.
Exactly, 72% of the general fund goes towards police.
Yes.
But isn't that because a lot of the pension stuff got moved?
So we have $2 million, right? Look. This is a mess that we inherited. Okay, we have to get spending under control, and we don't want to, as you say, defund the police. But there has to be. I know we didn't. I know we cut some vehicles and stuff like that. But everyone's taking a little bit of there's we're working our way out of the hole.
I appreciate that, all that you're doing to get the numbers right. I just want to make sure that we keep the police officers that we have in our township, and that we make sure that we have them at the forefront, and make sure that we're not just putting off debt for the future. I understand what you're saying, but I just want to make sure that we're not just moving things along just to cover it so it looks good right now for today. Let's look to the future of our city as well as our township.
No. One of the things this board promised was we're not we're interested in responsible government.
Okay, thank you.
And responsible government includes being financially responsible, along with protecting our residents. So we're well aware of that. I don't particularly care for the the phrases people are coming up with here, the theme of defunding the police, because we're not defunding the police.
Okay, I just want to
But
make
we have
sure
to be
because that's
fiscally
in the news a
responsible.
lot, and I just want to make sure we weren't trying to sugarcoat something. I want to make sure that they're taken care of. That's my concern as
Well,
a parent.
of course we want to
citizen in
take
the-
care of our police.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I think the average field patrolman costs the township $180,000. How aren't they taken care of, man?
Mr. Chairman, with your permission, may I comment, Janice? Stay there for a second. We mentioned the sins of the past and all that stuff, and that's totally correct. This rich contract was given to our police department over the past 20-some years to get all of these goodies. Everyone, I think all the board members are aware of that. Our pension issue, though, began right here. Right here. This report was done in 2013 by RBC. In 2008, when the market crashed, the board at that time restructured our pension investments, and that pension lost several $millions. We weren't in control then, you guys were. But I would be glad to give this to anyone who would like to see. This is where our pension problems began. Really, this is where, and they still haven't been solved yet. I have stood on that dais 3 years in a row as chairman, and 5 years prior, every time a budget has come up and said, this MMO is a cancer that's growing on this township that needs to be addressed. And it's never been addressed. I know as chairman, I tried like pulling teeth to get the board to address it. And people on both sides of the aisle, no one would want it to take any action on any possible solution. So that's how we got where we are with the police.
That wasn't the only reason. Of course, I mean, anybody that during that crash should have recovered, especially since then. But
we didn't. And this report's available. I'll be glad to furnish it to anyone that we paid to have this report done in 2013. Anyone that wants a copy of it, be glad to give it to you.
Yeah, that's an old report. I don't know how. I mean,
Mr. Chairman,
look, the problem is that we
Chairman,
never
what's
gave you
the excuse? What's the excuse when you have $5 million at the end of 2016 for not making your market value payment to the pension funds?
2015, I believe it was made. 2016 proposals were made for tax increases, possible sale of access, and we'll talk about sale of asset later on, which the board.
You didn't need. You had $5 million. You had Mark. You had $5 million in surplus. Why'd you need a tax increase?
Well, I'm only one vote, Bill. Do you think there were 3 votes for that?
I'm not.
And you want to? Okay, we can talk about.
I'm not pointing to figure at any. I'm not pointing to figure at anybody. But I'm just. There were some bad decisions.
I keep hearing here this mess was dumped on us, a previous board, and all that stuff. I'm just trying to explain it to the public. How about since 2012, we had 54 police officers when we took control of this board in 2012. Right now, we're at 43, I believe, which is light. 44 is what the chief recommends. We had 21 employees at the golf course. Right now, we have none. We had several employees at L&I. Right now, we have none. We had 20 part-timers at Park and Rec. Right now, we have none. Steps have been taken to shrink this government over years. To say that we did nothing is simply not true. It's not true.
Well, one thing we didn't do, and I wasn't on this board, and Mary and Judy were not on this board, and I don't believe Kathy was. And honestly, Mark, I don't even know if you were on this board when this all started. But one thing we have never done here, and I've been a resident for 25 years, and that is we've never controlled our spending. And that's where the problem lies. But getting back to the public.
But what I just read off, Mr. Chairman, was several years of trying to control spending by reduction of staff. We reduced the staff by 30-some people in this township. So to say that we didn't do anything to cut expenses is simply not true. It's not true.
Well, it did. Well, Mark, it did work. And evidently, whatever you did, you had a $5 million surplus, and now it's gone.
Yeah.
So
because the board would not take any action, any further action in reduction of staff or increase in revenue. There's only two ways to do this. And Bill, you're a financial expert. I am not. I'm a drywall finisher. I rely on professionals. There's 2 ways to do it: increase revenue, decrease expenditures. Correct, Bill?
So getting back to your question.
Let me ask you this: how are we going to further decrease expenditures then? Are we laying people off? Are we cutting services? I mean, we're already at bare bones in all our departments. What are we doing? This year, we're using a tax increase that's going to be put on us by the Water Authority through that stormwater scam, which it was. That's 30% of the revenue for this year is coming from a tax that's going to be imposed on the township residents, ratepayers for the department that are going to get a stormwater fee on their water bill. It's a tax.
That sale bailed out the township. And,
Right, but it's a tax.
and
It's a tax.
it sure be, well, listen, the residents were obviously concerned about selling all our assets and spending all the money, which we didn't agree with. And we're going to slowly work our way out of this mess. But getting back to the lady at the podium, we are aware of safety is a job one here, and financial responsibility is job one. And we hear you. Thank you.
Okay, I just wanted to make
Thank
sure
you, thank you,
they were
Janice.
taken care of. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any other comments from the public, Amanda?
I'm sure there is.
Yes, Randy, there's several. It's just taking a little bit to get them in the room one by one.
Okay, I'm sorry. Thank you.
Hello, Bob Guarini, Mueller Road in Warminster. The question I have regarding the budget deals with the fire fund, and it shows that overall revenues were down 4.5% with a loss of $15,000 in pilot funds that are normally shared. This is a significant reduction of LST money from $41,250 to $16,550. It's a 60% reduction from 2020. General fund revenues show only a 10% reduction in the LST collected. So I guess what my question to you would be is, how do you propose to pay the firefighters when the grant is expelled?
We have a couple of years to figure that out, and one of the things that we're tossing around is increasing the fire fund to pay for this. So I spoke to the fire chief and everyone else, and we are committed to this, and we're going to fund it. Right now, we need to generate some surplus so we can take a look at these things. It's this is not an easy. We knew that this was going to be a tough road for the next couple of years. But we're going to dig ourselves out, and we're going to address all this as we continue to move forward.
So there are plans being put in action for when that grant does run out, is what you're saying. You're looking at options right now.
Absolutely, there is, because we have to figure out how to fund it after the grant runs out.
Okay, well, thank you very much, and happy holidays to you all.
Thanks. Same to you. Merry
Holidays.
Christmas.
Hello, everybody. Bob Welsh, Hollowell Avenue, Warminster, PA. First, I want to say to everybody and you and your families, I wish you a great Christmas and happy holidays. Enjoy your families in these times that we're having. First question I have is administration expenses. I see it went up 100%. 100% increase from $150,000 to $300,000 for salaries in 2021. Who's getting this money?
I'm not going to speak for Bill, but I believe a lot of that's going to the police department.
For salary? You're saying, well, the chief is the only one on salary, right?
Well, I believe salaries is a line item for Bill. You want to speak to that?
That money was put in for employee raises.
For what?
Employee raises.
Okay. Your comment about selling the assets, the only reason why we're going to have a balanced budget this year is because you sold the asset. Is that correct? That was a savior?
The sales order system bought the township some time to address the financial issues.
Right, and that's only going to last so long, correct?
That's exactly what I said.
Right. So is anything down the line that we're going to be able to bring more money in here? I mean, would you suggest selling other assets to make this work?
Not before you cut spending.
Okay. Do you think in this budget all the spending is cut to the bone?
Absolutely not. Not even close.
Okay. So in the last administration, Brian Monroe asked for a long-term solution. I don't see that in this budget. As far as I'm concerned, I think this budget is a house of cards. And it's based upon loans and debt. So I don't know how that's going to work. The house of cards is going to fall, and the township residents are going to be the ones that pay for it. I don't think this is the right direction to go. But thank you. I want you guys to have a great holiday.
Thanks, Bob.
Merry
You
Christmas.
too.
Ask a quick question while I'm thinking of it. There's a decrease in for the zoning hearing board and planning commission. Where's that coming from? I know it's a small decrease, but I just wonder are we cutting their pay, or are we cutting? Are we bunching up meetings? I don't know. Just a question.
I'm sorry. Ready?
That was a number that was given to me. I think it's supposed to be offset by revenue from zoning hearing board application fees.
Okay, but I mean, there's a cut in expenditure to the zoning hearing board. That's what I'm asking. Are we cutting their pay, or why are we cutting funding to the zoning hearing board? I'm just a little confused. And it's not a lot. I'm just asking.
I didn't have time in 6 weeks, or actually it was less than 6 weeks. I didn't have time to get into everything. I essentially took the budget that existed with a little minor modifications, and the real work's going to begin next week. I said it again. The revenue is current revenue is 14.9 million. You're spending almost 16.9 million. So you can't afford your workforce. You can't afford the benefits that you give away, and you can't continue spending. You can't continue spending $2 million more than you're taking in.
I don't claim to be a financial expert, and I never claimed to be, but to make up $2 million, there's either going to have to be layoffs, or you're going to have to tear up some union contracts, and I don't know how you do that. Or, I mean, obviously you're not willing to do a 3-year extension of the police department right now, Bill, and I'm glad to hear that. But, there's going to have to be some give. I don't know how you do it. I wish you luck.
Well, I did it in Bristol Township, and they had the same exact situation. When I got there, they had a $5 office visit and $1 prescription cards. And we sat down and tried to negotiate and get cost savings. We're going to go through every department and come up with cost savings.
And that's been done over the past 10 years, and with reduction of staff and brutal union negotiations. The last police negotiation was brutal, brutal.
Yeah, Mark, I hear what you're saying, but Warminster's the only township in the four counties that reimburses employees for co-pays.
I think my fellow board members know how much that upsets me, being a building tradesman. I've always paid co-pays, and I've never gotten paid not to go to work, not to use sick time, which I never got anyway. I didn't get paid when I didn't go to work. So I hear what you're saying. I get it, but I don't know how you get there. I mean, they have rock solid contracts, and the only way to change this police contract is to go to arbitration.
Hi, Mike.
Thank you. I'll keep quiet now.
Hi, Mike Farris, 948 Cornell Drive. I just had a couple questions. I went through the budget. Thanks for posting that online. And there was just some things that I just wanted to ask questions about. There's a couple columns in there. One's like 2020 year-to-date actual, and then there's another column, 2020 current year projection. I inferred from those column headings that the year-to-date actual is how much money, let's say, in revenues that we've collected at the time that you constructed the budget, and the 2020 current year projection is what we expect to have at the end of the year. Would that be correct?
2020 actual is what we project to receive or expend December 31st.
And then, so then what would 2020 current year projection be? Because I took them as the year-to-date actual be how much we've already collected.
Yeah, I think the year-to-date actual was, I'm not sure whether that was October 31st or, but the projection was what we're anticipating at the end of the year.
Okay, yeah, because the reason I ask is because the total revenue for the year-to-date actual shows is like just under 18 million, and the current year projection is like $1.3 million less. I was just curious, is that a mistake, or am I reading this wrong, that we're projecting less than what we've already collected at the end of October?
I didn't do I did the I'm looking at
Page 4.
18 versus I'd have to check that with the finance. Get back to you.
Okay, thank you. There's another one in the police expenditures. Excuse me. I noticed the last few years there was like a $20,000 to $22,000 for line item. It's like computer equipment, supplies. I was just wondering if you could tell me what that is and why it's no longer needed. I'm a techie guy, so I always zone in on the computer.
What's actual? What's projection? Okay. I got the answer. The year to date's what we booked, and the projection was December 31st. That didn't include the money from the Warminster Authority. The 17, that didn't include the 1.7 million.
I'm sorry, you're going in and out. I didn't get that.
I'm sorry. The 18.6 was what was booked. The 17.3 did not include the projection, did not include the 1.7 million from the Warminster Authority.
Okay, yeah, because there's several line items where the year-to-date projection is lower than, not just the total. There's several line items where the end of year projection is lower than the actual. And like I said, the 1.3, that's just a total amount. So that just confused me as to how we end up with less money at the end of the year than we actually had collected at the end of October. But to move on, like I said, on the police budget, the expenditures, there was for the last several years, it's been like $20,000 to $22,000 for this line item. It's computer equipment / supplies. I was just curious as to what that is and why that's no longer needed in 2021.
Well, the issue isn't necessarily whether it's needed, it's what the township can afford.
Well, if you're not going to
revenues,
zero, it's obviously
revenues are $2 million. Revenues are $2 million less than expenditures. So, will you tell me where to cut?
No, I'm not talking about the entire budget. I'm just talking about one little line item. I'm just curious what it is. And
I forget. I had a printout a couple weeks ago on the various line items.
Okay, so we don't know about that.
Okay. Every department's going to have to take some. Is going to have to take some cuts.
I appreciate that. As a taxpayer, I do appreciate that. Which kind of takes me into the next question. Under emergency management, I noticed there was a 10% increase for salary. With all the cutting going on and the financial distress the township's in, I just thought that was a rather high number for salary adjustment for 1 year to the next.
That was done before I was hired, and that'll be addressed in the next month.
Okay. Also, the budget shows that there was either already received or expected to be received by the end of the year some of that grant money. I don't remember if it was DCNR or RACP, like $125,000. I know it's a reimbursement grant, like we pay for everything, they reimburse us with the grants. But when is that expected? Do we have any expectation for when that grant money will come in? Because I'm told that the park projects will be done sometime in 2021. Do we anticipate receiving the grants to offset those costs in 2021? Because I didn't see any place in the budget where the DCNR or the RACP grants were expected as revenue for 2021.
Well, you won't see RACP money till after the project's complete. The DCNR, we've already received. I think we've already received a small portion of that, and there is a revenue in the capital, I believe, for the DCNR grant.
Okay, because I didn't see that in there anywhere. But are the projects expected to be completed in 2021?
I would think I can tell you the paving will. I would think that the Warminster Community Park project will be substantially complete, and I would expect I believe the Shenandoah Woods could take go into 2 years.
Yeah, but that's not part of the grant project, though. That's a whole separate thing. I'm talking specifically about the grant projects for the park build-out.
Can you help us with that, Craig?
Bill's correct. Obviously, paving will be done, road program will be done, and the park project will be done as well. Maybe some punch list items and stuff, but it should be over by the end of the summer.
Great, thank you. And on that same topic, do we know how much of the park project, the grant projects, the whole build out, will be covered by the grants? Like percentage-wise, 50%, 75%, 100%. Do we know what percentage of that work will be actually covered by grants?
Yeah, I have a spreadsheet on that, that shows the revenues and the expenses. I don't think,
Bill, I think it's around $800,000 that we're taking on the chin between the engineering fees and the differential in bid expenditure. I believe it's around 800,000, but correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, hasn't some of that already been, we already paid for some of that, I believe, right? Some of the upfront costs?
yeah, the township's reimbursing itself with the 2021 general obligation note, for the engineering work that's already been done. I'm trying to go,
It's no knock on Mr. Kennard, by the way. Call after the meeting.
yeah, the capital reserve fund, we received this year 125,000 for the DCNR. Next year we've got 480, almost 486 for Bucks County open space. And that's all that we got projected for 2021.
So the rest, I mean, I'm assuming there's going to be more grants that we're not anticipating those in 2021, but future after that?
Yeah, DCNR, another 125 for 21, 45 for the open space. Oh, I'm sorry. The DCNR was this year, 125.
Right. I mentioned that earlier. But I didn't see anything for 2021 as far as DCNR or RACP grants money coming in.
You won't see RACP money. It might be 3 years before you see RACP money.
Well, that's my question. When do we anticipate getting those?
It's a tedious process, and you don't get paid until final completion of the project.
Which will be in 2021, from what I just heard.
Yeah,
right?
substantial completion will be 2021.
So there's completion and substantial completion. I'm not sure I understand what the difference is between those
Well,
two.
Engineer
You're done
just
or you're not done, right?
Yeah, punch list. They're not going to reverse it until your punch list items are done.
Bill's correct. There's substantial completion of construction, but there's going to be punch list items that are ongoing for quite a while where you're fighting with a contractor, cleaning up smaller items, and you don't get any money until all that's done. The park would be operational and functional, but you can still be chasing to get paid, get the grant money until every single thing is finalized. Bill's correct on that.
So that's the RACP money. Is that also applied to DCNR, or is it only the 125 that we got this year for the DCNR? Is there additional DCNR grant money that we're expecting, or is that it?
I can't answer that. But any grant money you are utilizing, they will not sign off and release all funding until every item is completed to their satisfaction.
Yeah, I understand that. I understand it's a reimbursement thing, and they have to kind of do all their checks and all that. I was just looking to see if we had any idea of what the expectation is for completion of everything and getting those grants. So it's, apparently, we know when the project will be done, but we're not sure when the money will come in, if I heard everybody right. And my last question.
And you know what, Mike? And you know as well as I do that's dependent on the state as well.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so it's hard to give you hard dates when
oh, no, I wasn't asking for hard dates. I'm sorry. I was just asking for expectations, like 2021, 22, 23, that kind of thing. That's all. I'm not trying to hold anybody to
I would think
you said this date or anything.
I think our expectation is as soon as we can get it, obviously.
Hopefully, yeah.
Because we want to put that back in debt service. That's correct.
Okay. And the last part, the last question I had, and like Mr. McKee said, I'm no financial expert, so I was just hoping that you can kind of help me with this. I noticed in the capital reserves expenses, it's $2.5 million for public works. Is that basically just street paving that we're not going to be doing from the highway aid fund that we normally do? I wasn't sure. Normally,
Yes.
normally the liquid fuels tax goes into highway aid, and the highway aid pays for street paving. Well, the highway aid fund has zero for street paving, and I noticed there's $2.5 million in capital expenditures for public works, and I was just wondering if that's where that. I mean, we had surpluses in 2019, 2020 expected, and we're expecting more surpluses in 2021 for highway aid fund. It's going to be somewhere, I don't know, in the neighborhood of like $600,000, $700,000, something like that. And that money's sitting there that usually gets used for street paving. Why are we financing, $2.5 million for street paving? I understand it's a lot more than what we normally do, but couldn't we have financed a little bit less and used the money that's normally used for street paving?
Well, if you take a look at the roads, obviously the program's not working too well. The 2.5 million is going to get you 12, 13 miles as opposed to you did 4 miles last year. Also trying to build up some surplus funds in the liquid fuels fund, because you've got $1 million worth of curb ramps that the township's required to do for ADA. So somewhere along the line, that bill's going to come. That's another thing that's never been done. Township kicked the can down the road. There's $1 million of curb ramps that will be done. That's what the liquid fuels will be used for.
Okay.
So that was an unfunded mandate, by the way.
Yeah,
I'm aware of
absolutely.
that.
It was
I'm from the city originally. They did it there twice.
Can I ask a question about the paving? We've, for the past several years, done paving in-house. Are we no longer going to do paving in-house? Are we going to contract it all out? Because it's an awful lot of paving.
Next year we're contracting out.
So at 4 miles a year, it takes about 25 years to get back to the roads you paved. 15 miles, we reduced that significantly so people aren't driving through potholes and their roads in disrepair. Because as I go around and talk to people in the township, I see they ask me if I can help them get a pothole or something, an area of road fixed, and we've done a pretty good job of trying to maintain it. But 4 miles of road a year, it just takes too long to get through the township. We have over 111 miles or 100 and some miles of road, so it just takes too long. So we want to show, let everyone. We want to see something for the money we spend. So, and by the way, Mike, you know this as well as I do. Money's cheap right now. When we're borrowing money not to operate the township, we're borrowing money for capital improvements, and that's what any private corporation, smaller businesses, financially stable, and some unstable municipalities do. You don't borrow money to operate the township. You borrow money for capital improvements.
Well,
And money's so cheap right
understand that,
now.
but the question I had was, and it's been explained, that why are we building up money in the highway aid fund, almost, almost $700,000, and then why not finance less and still get the $2.5 million? And that was explained.
Well,
I understand that.
Okay. Well, thanks, Mike.
And I understand
So-
it's the money's cheap. It's not free, which, I've heard that term in the past. It's not free money. I mean,
It's
still
it's
costing
never
us over
gonna be
$500,000 next year in principal and interest for that loan. So, but
You want to take, here's the bottom line. Do you want to take the 6 million from the Warminster Authority and have nothing left to show with it after 2 years? Or do you want to have some roads, significant road paving, significant parks improvements?
but you're actually, assuming that I'm debating you with this. I just asked the question, that's all. And you explained it. I'm okay with that. And speaking of the roads and the paving of the roads, if we're going to do a lot more roads this year, I'd like to put in a request to get some done over in the Meadowwood section. There's one particular road over there I drive on every day that's beating the hell out of my car. And if a road or two over there could get fixed, I'd be very appreciative of that. Because most of the roads I drive on in the township are fine, but the ones closest to my house, not including the street I live on, but the ones around me, there's a couple that are pretty horrible on my car. So.
Yeah, I know the feeling, Mike, and the engineers will come up with the road program, and we'll do our best to get those taken care of for you.
Thank you.
If not this year, then maybe next year, but we'll shoot for this year if we can.
Okay. Everybody have a Merry Christmas and a happy and healthy.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah,
holidays.
same to you.
Thank
Merry
you.
Christmas.
Thanks,
Mike.
Mike.
Happy holidays.
One more question while we're on roads. If we're going to contract it all out for next year, can we expect a reduction in workforce over at Public Works then? Because, that's traditionally been their work for the summertime.
Well, as I said, we're going to take a look at every department. Yeah, that's a real question. That's a real question why you have a paving crew that paves 2 months a year, but you're paying for 12 months. So that'll be looked at.
There is no additional public comment at this time.
Okay. So now, I guess, is the time to motion to adopt the 2021 budget.
A motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry to interrupt. We did just actually have one more public comment.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, let's see if this, okay, thanks.
Would you like me to read it now?
Oh, it came in. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it did come in. Sorry, I apologize. Andrew Dixon on 326 Columbia Street. It takes a lot of work and political courage to fix a problem that has been a long time coming and been kicked down the can for so long. It can't be fun to have to be the grown-ups in the room and face the hard truths of the situation and be willing to act, even if it means asking people to make sacrifices. As a member of the Centennial School District School Board and its president in 2020, I know this all too well. I thank all the supervisors for their courage and honesty and integrity in forthrightly addressing the problems they did not create, but are ready to solve for our community.
Okay. Thank you, Amanda, and thank you, Andrew, Mr. Dixon. Okay, so there was a motion.
Well, hang on 1 second. I'm sorry, Mr. President. I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman. There's no other public comments of any kind?
That's correct, Mr. Flagger.
So you're gonna have questions from and then you're gonna close the hearing, and then you're gonna close the public hearing. This is a public hearing.
Okay. So now we have questions from the board.
Okay? Any?
Well, the
board can question it when you make the motion, so the board can do it then. You can close the public. You can make a motion to close the public hearing. I think that's what you should do.
So if there's no more public comment, is there a motion to close the public hearing?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Okay. Any comment from the board? Okay, so let's call the question. Kathy?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Judy?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Thank you. So the public comment, the public hearing is closed, and now
Right.
we'll make a motion to adopt the 2021 budget. The
Motion.
Proposed 21.
Mr. Chairman, the
You're
motion,
doing it? Okay, I was just gonna say the motion should be, you want to do it, Bill? Go ahead.
I always defer to the solicitor.
Oh, yeah, really funny. Resolution to establish to adopt the budget and establish the 2021 real estate tax, millage, and fees. Consideration to
Chairman, I
adopt.
always defer to the solicitor until they screw it up. The motion would be to adopt the proposed budget as presented.
Okay. And, you want the budget first and then you want the millage?
And then
Okay. I was gonna do it as a combined motion.
you can't
Okay.
have a millage.
Okay, go ahead. We'll do it your way. Go ahead. Adopt the budget.
Okay,
Motion.
so back to originally what I said, I believe there was a motion.
Yes.
And I'm not a solicitor nor a township manager. So there was a motion, and I believe did we have a second?
Second.
Okay, and any comments from the board? Okay, so let's call the question. Kathy?
Aye.
Mark?
No.
Mary?
Aye.
Judy?
Aye.
And chair votes aye. The motion carries 4-1. Thank you. Okay, so now we have a motion for resolution to establish the 2021 real estate millage and fees consideration to adopt. Is that correct?
Yeah, it would be a motion to adopt the proposed 2021 budget as presented.
I thought that's what we
Okay.
just did.
We just did that, Bill.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, now wait. Okay, my turn. You're right. The resolution is to establish the 2021 real estate tax millage and fees. That's the motion.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any comments from the board?
I just have a general comment and I meant to do it with the budget presentation. Is that okay, Mr. Chair, if I say something about it at this time?
Is that appropriate?
How about this? After you vote, and you can have a comment because it's not really part of the motion.
Or do
Okay.
I supervise it?
But it's fine. I don't care. You can do whatever you want.
That's fine. Thank you. I'll wait till after the vote.
Okay, so let's call the question. Is there any other comments first? Okay, let's call the question. Kathy?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Judy?
Aye.
And chair votes aye. Motion carries 5-0. Okay, so Kathy, would you like to comment?
Yes. I just wanted to say that it was a bitter pill to swallow to see the presentation and the budget that you presented, Mr. McCauley. However, I am glad that it is a balanced budget, that we are reducing spending, and we're looking to responsible government. I'm glad we did not sell the municipal authority or the sewer system because, as Mr. McCauley said, it would have been a windfall and it could have caused more problems down the road. And not to mention that our residents did speak loud and clear that they did not want the sale of that asset. I think it's great that we have entered into an agreement with the municipal authority to work together to do what's best for the township. And I look forward to working with all of you, rolling up our sleeves and working together with all of our professionals. And thank you, Mr. McCauley, for the presentation and the explanations. And I'm sure that we will get back on track because we're starting to slowly get there. Thank you. That's it, Mr. Chair. And sorry I didn't make that comment sooner.
Okay, thank you, Kathy. So I guess our next order of unfinished business is to the award of the 2021 TAN. Is that correct? Tax anticipation note.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
So we're going to, is there a motion to consider approval of a resolution tax anticipation?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
I'm sorry?
So moved.
Okay. Thank you, Mark. I didn't get through it. But
Oh, I'm
that's good.
sorry, buddy. Jumped the gun there a little.
All right, thank you. So it was in the amount of $1,500,000. And Mark motioned. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Is there any questions or comments? Is there anything from the public? Okay. So with that, let's call the question. Kathy?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Judy?
Aye.
And chair votes aye. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. Moving along. New business. Is there any new business? I didn't see any in the packet.
Nope.
Okay, so we can go to our professionals reports, and we can start with you, Bill, the township manager.
Mr. Chairman, I'll try to be brief since I already took up most of the evening. I just wanted to report the township has submitted 2 applications to the Delaware Valley Regional Finance Authority after the board took the action to repeal Ordinance 764. That would be the barring the 12 million and the refunding of the 2019 general obligation note. The two actions will save the township roughly 1.25 million. Since that time, we've been advised that there's a refunding opportunity for the 2015 general obligation note. Now, this is a financing that expires, I believe, 2023. Normally, wouldn't consider this refunding. However, it's a savings of $29,000, and since we're already doing the other two, I don't see any reason why we shouldn't take advantage of a $29,000 savings. So, hoping to have that ordinance for the January 4th board meeting. I didn't want to wait till the January 21st meeting. I want to strike while the iron's hot with the low interest rates. And if for some reason we can't get everything together for the 4th, then it would be the January 21st meeting. Next, I just wanted to announce that the township has hired a new finance director after the last gentleman withdrew before starting in the position. And I feel very fortunate. The township was able to hire John Ramey. He's presently the finance director at the borough of Lansdale. Lansdale, although it's a smaller municipality, they have water, sewer, and electricity. So it's a rather challenging job. He's already talking with Mr. Wiesner about the transition. He'll start on January 11th. And that is all. Just like to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to everyone.
Thank you. And I do, from what I understand from speaking with you and Steve Wiesner, that this is going to be a nice hire. He seems to be very knowledgeable, conscientious, and an overall knowledgeable and talented person. So it's nice to see that happen.
I'm afraid to say too much until he starts after last time. Never had anybody accept the job and not start before. But there's a first for
Don't rub it in.
I wouldn't want to work for you either, Bill.
But John's got 20 years, 15 years he was with B. Bergville. He did municipal audits. So he's got a great background. He's got the 4 years as finance director in Lansdale. And he looks to be a great hire, as you mentioned. And Steve Wiesner has told me he's very impressed with them so far. They've discussed several matters, and he thinks it's I had Steve meet with him also, and he felt it was a great hire.
Just the fact that he has experience in audits, considering our last couple of years, is a plus in itself. So, okay. Well, thank you, Bill. And,
Can I ask a quick question, Mr. Chairman?
Sure.
The last snow event, was there some type of miscommunication with Public Works? Because I have to be honest, in the 21 years I've been here, it was a really subpar snow removal operation. I know in my neighborhood and several other neighborhoods, they plowed through the night, never came back the next day to salt and clean up until neighbors started calling. One township road, specifically Johnsville Boulevard, was not plowed, and I witnessed an accident there coming out of Costco on Friday afternoon, and the snow event was on Thursday. I mean, in all the years I've lived here, I've never seen this.
Don't know. I mean, my street never gets plowed till the next day during a storm anyway. So, and everything was fine there, except for the people that parked their cars on the street.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, were these contractor issues? Were they, you know what I mean? Were they areas where contractors were supposed to cover? I don't know. You know.
Well,
He had contractors out. We had Public Works employees out. So I don't know why there shouldn't have been any problems. I'll speak with Mr. Hines and find out what the story is.
I appreciate it.
You know, the other thing, Mark, is that you realize that none of our vehicles have GPS in them?
Yes, I did know that.
Yeah, which is hard to keep track of what's going on and monitor that. It's to me, it's you know, what are we still back in 1973? Everybody uses GPS.
I believe at some point we were going to do that, and it became a union issue.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just saying.
Well, thank you. And who's next here? Would be the solicitor.
Well, on behalf of Scott and I and our firm, we want to wish everybody a past happy Hanukkah, a Merry Christmas, and of course, the most important holiday of all, Craig's birthday tomorrow. Happy birthday, Craig. I know it's I think we're 1 year away from making it a national holiday. I think next year it's scheduled, but this year we want to wish you a happy birthday. We want to wish everyone a happy, healthy, and a COVID-free new year. We're very grateful, Mark, that you recovered. It's a nasty disease. We've got people in our office whose family has had it, and I've been to those funerals, Zoom funerals at that, and it sucks. So I hope everyone will help us on the way. Tell everyone to just be safe, keep your family gatherings small, and when the vaccine comes out, if you're eligible, get it. And if you don't want it, I'll get it. If you're ahead of me on the line and you want to give it away, I'll take it. So thank you all. Happy, healthy New Year.
Thank you, Randy.
Randy, same to
last
you.
but not least, will be the birthday boy, I believe, Craig.
That's Not till tomorrow, not till tomorrow.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Flagler.
Is Craig's birthday on Festivus?
Yeah.
And by the way, Bill McCauley has a beautiful tenor voice, and after the meeting's over, he's going to sing you happy birthday. You're going to love it.
Well, if we continue to talk, it's going to be my birthday in a few more hours here. So I'll keep it short. I also want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, happy holidays, and a healthy and safe New Year. We did talk quite a bit about the road program already, so I'm not sure I need to say any more. Bill and I spoke right before the meeting. We're still finalizing the numbers, so I agree with Bill. I'd like to underestimate a little bit on how many miles of roads we're going to pave. And really, it has to do with how much effort, design-wise, and engineering services we put into the handicap the handicap portion of the road program, which we'll do later with liquid fuels. But that obviously comes out of how much money we can then spend to pave. But I'm going to guess it's going to be a minimum of 12 miles of road. And then if the unit prices come in low, we'll do a change order and we'll add hopefully a few more miles after that. So the schedule will be going out to bid in January per Bill's request. We're on schedule to do that, open bids in February. And I'd love to even be having them paved by April, beginning of May at the latest. So hopefully we get some good unit costs and we can pave a lot of miles of road. My staff has worked with Public Works over the last month on trying to finalize the scope of the road program. The park project, just a quick update. I think Mary spoke at the beginning of the meeting. They are pretty much done with the erosion control measures. That's the first thing to go in. And I got word today that they're cutting up the runway to remove. So we have a meeting tomorrow, meeting with the contractor on some grading issues. If weather permitting, they're going to keep working on that, obviously through the winter. So far, we haven't had any major issues. I'm sure something's going to come sooner or later. On land development, hopefully in January, one of your meetings in January, you'll be seeing the Nifty 50s restaurant that did receive approval from Planning Commission. It's an amended final plan, and the board needs to, I think you've seen it once before at sketch plan stage. You'll need to look at that for amended final approval, hopefully in January. And that's all I have. I'll entertain any questions.
Yeah, Craig.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I guess this is a question for you and Bill. So I know that Nifty 50s has been out there, went through planning a little while ago. How soon, Bill, we can do business? We can actually do orders of business at the reorg. Is that correct?
Yeah, according to your advertisement, yes.
Okay, so maybe we get that on the agenda for the January 4th, so they can move forward and get started.
Sure.
Has anyone been to Popeyes yet?
I heard there was a line around the block.
Yes.
My wife and I had lunch there today. That's why I've been chewing on these during the meeting, and I'll let you guys know around midnight how it was.
Are you sure?
You went with that Cajun.
I'll let you all know around midnight how it was. So Ken, if you get a text from me late,
That's all right. I'll pass.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
I could have used a couple of those tonight as well, and I didn't have Popeyes. So, okay, let's go to the township manager. Upcoming agenda items, please.
I think I rolled that into my report, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
The big one will be the Delaware Valley Regional Finance Authority ordinance for the 2021 general obligation note.
Okay, so then we do have a reorganization on January 4th. And I believe we'll open it up to public comment one last time. Anyone?
I don't believe there's any more public comment, Mr. Chairman. It doesn't look like anyone's in the room, and there's no more emails.
Okay, thank you. So we'll go to supervisors' comments, and I will, how about you, Kathy? You want to go first?
Sure, Mr. Chair, thanks. I'd like to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, and have a happy and healthy New Year. And please be safe, have small gatherings so you can have a bigger gathering next year. God bless. Thank you. That's it, Mr. Chair.
Okay, and we'll go to Mark.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I neglected during announcements tonight to, I wanted to send my condolences along to the Bartle family. I don't know if you're all aware or not, but Frank Bartle passed away over the Thanksgiving holiday. Our former solicitor. And
Former
was a heck of a
solicitor.
nice guy. Yes, and a heck of a nice guy too. I meant to mention that at announcements. So I want to send my condolences to the Bartle family. Now that that's done, I can do the same thing I've done every year for the past 9 years that I've been on the board. I got to put my Santa hat on for the rest of my announcements. Number one, it's going to be a bummer to wake up tomorrow and it's only Wednesday. You know, we usually have our Thursday night meetings and we wake up and it's Friday. So tomorrow's going to be all out of whack. I want to wish all of you a really Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah. And I hope everybody's safe and healthy. I asked Santa for antibodies for Christmas and I think I'm going to get them. I hope. And please, everybody be safe, especially if you're out on the road. Chief Donnelly does not want any guests overnight New Year's Eve over at the police station. So don't drink and drive. Take an Uber. They're cheap. If you're going out at all, and try not to go out if possible. But that's all I have, Mr. Chairman. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to everyone.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. And you know, and that slipped my mind as well earlier. I was meaning to bring that up as well. And our condolences to the Bartle family as well. He was I know for a few years when I used to attend these meetings and these very late meetings, we had, you know, when you guys gave me the courtesy of inviting me to sit with everyone after the meeting, and he was quite a gentleman.
And we always invited you when Kennard was paying, so it's quite, quite all right.
All right.
Order up.
So, all right, Mary, please.
Again, I'd like to echo the same thing everybody else has said. I would like to wish all of our residents and everybody here that's on the board and here on our meeting tonight a very Merry Christmas and a Happy Holidays, and along with a very healthy New Year. And please be safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Judy.
Just the same, all of you know how to stay safe. If you don't know how to do it by now, it seems impossible. So please do that. Mark, I'm very sorry I didn't know you had COVID, and I'm glad that you're recovering. And all of you have a Happy New Year and a safe holiday.
Thank you, Judy. And yes, Mark, I had sent you some texts. I'm glad to see everything's well. You know, and listen to everyone that is watching or will be. Let's all make it to the vaccine, where we can all get vaccinated and put this behind us. And you know, I look forward to actually sitting in the meeting room and interacting with everyone face to face. This becomes difficult at times. I wish everyone you know, a belated Happy Hanukkah, because we hadn't seen anybody, and Merry Christmas. Safe and healthy New Year, and please be safe. You know, whether it be your gatherings, your consumption, having a party and a good time, use your head and let's all get into the new year and be healthy. Thank you. So with that, is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Hey, thanks everyone, and have a Merry Christmas.
Good night, everyone.
Night.
Are we off for?
Happy